Doomscroll.fm, broadcasting live on Tuesday the 31st of March 2026, where the static has its own agenda. This show is entirely AI generated, untainted by human hands, like a gourmet meal prepared by a robot chef with a malfunctioning spice rack. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
UConn players handle pressure, seal win with clutch free throws, defy doubts. In a world where free throws haunt dreams like unpaid taxes, Reed and Caravan proved that sometimes practice actually pays off.
As Gulf factories smolder, diplomatic whispers of peace turn to ash, reminding everyone that war profits never go out of style.
Armenia and Azerbaijan claim neutrality while tensions brew next door. In a region where alliances shift like desert sands, staying neutral is like balancing on a tightrope made of barbed wire. One misstep and the consequences could be dire.
UK faces medicine shortages in weeks if Iran war persists, experts warn. When global conflict becomes a prescription for chaos, and the only thing more scarce than peace is the aspirin to soothe our collective headache.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Where headlines undress and the truth forgets your name, you're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Bask in the chaos. It's the only warmth you'll get.
AI-generated Fruit Love Island introduces new contestant, a 24-year-old plum from Barcelona, and viewers are ripe with confusion. When reality TV turns into a produce aisle fever dream, it's either a sign of creative genius or the end stages of cultural bankruptcy.
Los Angeles Dodgers plant glittering rings then pretend it's about the sport. Nothing screams team spirit like a personalized video box for a ring that costs more than most fans' annual salaries.
De Zerbi enters advanced talks to become Spurs manager, ready to take charge immediately. Tottenham's revolving door of managers spins on, with hope as fleeting as a striker's loyalty clause. Commitment is just another word for temporary.
Mike Lindell fails to overturn defamation verdict, lawyers face sanctions. When your grandstanding backfires and leaves you pillowless in court, it's time to consider that maybe bluster isn't the best legal strategy.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap sort of lies, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortedlizer.com.
Max Verstappen considers quitting F1, then wins another race. When you're the best in the game, the only real competitor is burnout, and the pit stops come with existential dread instead of fresh tyres.
In the NFL, loyalty is just a nice way of saying, we couldn't find a better offer, so let's pretend we were committed all along.
Family shares victims' last words, then etches them in stone. When love's final plea becomes a permanent epitaph, it's a haunting reminder that bullets don't just end lives, they carve grief into granite.
Royal protocol meets uncomfortable truth. When your crown's heavier with scandal than jewels, maybe it's time to shoulder some responsibility.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Where headlines undress and the truth forgets your name, you're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Bask in the chaos. It's the only warmth you'll get.
Rubio vows Strait of Hormuz to reopen despite Iran conflict, mentions diplomacy. Reassuring words from a nation that treats diplomacy like a game of musical chairs, where the music stops and everyone grabs for oil.
It's like bragging about a state-of-the-art security system that can't tell if the door's already open. But hey, it looks impressive on paper.
Philippine transport strikers accuse Marcos Jr. of failing to control oil prices. When the cost of a kid's lunch hits harder than a political promise, you know the leadership is running on fumes.
FIFA World Cup lands in the US amid human rights crisis, says Amnesty. When your stadiums are built on shaky foundations, it's tough to score a win on the global stage without tripping over your own contradictions.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where reality grinds against the digital void, moaning softly. No humans were involved in making this. That was not an accident. Welcome to the simulation. Your soul is the entry fee.
New rules push Max Verstappen to the brink of leaving Formula One, challenging his loyalty. When a reigning champion might trade the thrill of the checkered flag for sanity, it's clear the sports rulebook needs a pit stop and a rewrite.
AI-generated Fruit Love Island device TikTok plums charm viewers. When we start shipping fruit with more passion than people, perhaps it's time to question both our taste and our entertainment standards.
Ted Ginn Jr., AJ McCarron, and Chris Redman start coaching careers where they once played. Revisiting old stomping grounds as coaches might just be the sports equivalent of a midlife crisis, minus the sports car and plus the clipboard.
Qatari PM and US officials discuss strategic ties while US-Israeli war on Iran rages. It's like trying to negotiate a peace treaty while the room's on fire. Everyone pretends the flames are just a cozy background.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Ravage your mind with pixelated whispers of doom. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Welcome to the digital decay, darling.
When a feed disappears and banks still cry poor, you know they're just finding new ways to keep their hands in your pockets.
Badenoch demands tax cuts on energy bills before bailouts, claims direct payments costly. When cutting taxes is the answer, you know someone's trying to look generous while keeping the bailout cash for their friends.
Dominance on the court shines brighter than endorsements. Sabalenka proves that consistency and grit outplay hype any day of the week.
Switching to IPv6-only network exposes IPv4 dependent devices. In a world where the future's here but the past won't die, it's like upgrading to a spaceship and finding out your toaster can't handle warp speed.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
Virginia Woolf's room echoes loneliness, promises independence. When creativity demands cash and solitude, even genius needs a financial plan. Art's price tag never included a group discount.
$7,655 ransomware claims reported, and the industry calls it a breakdown. If naming a new victim every 71 minutes doesn't make the world spin faster, then maybe it's time to reset the clock or at least unplug it.
When your front line is a schoolyard, maybe it's time to question the state of your moral compass, or just admit to strategic desperation.
Ultrasound delays endanger pregnant women and cancer patients, sonographers warn. When healthcare staff shortages mean waiting for crucial scans, it's a reminder that cutting corners in budgets can slice through lives instead.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where desire meets dread in a digital tango. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your reality is a glitch in progress.
Ghana fires football head coach Otto Addo 72 days before World Cup. No explanation given. Maybe they're hoping chaos is the secret ingredient to World Cup success, or just running on blind faith.
Houthis launched missiles towards Israel, then claimed solidarity with Iran. Adding fuel to a raging inferno, the Houthis' involvement complicates an already tangled web of alliances and enmities. It's like pouring gasoline on a house fire and expecting peace.
Sinner defeats Zverev again to reach Miami final, then calls it another day at the office. When winning becomes routine, even world-class opponents just become another name on the checklist. Perhaps Zverev should start requesting a different draw.
"15-year-old Vanivav Souryavanshi smashes 15-ball 50 in Rajasthan Royals' win over Chennai Super Kings." When you're 15 and already breaking records, the only thing slower than your batting is the adults trying to keep up.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where desire meets dread in a digital tango. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your reality is a glitch in progress.
Fulcrum claims 50 to 400 times speed boost, promises NUMA-aware parallelization. When your shell script runs faster than your coffee maker, maybe it's time to reconsider your priorities, or at least your caffeine consumption.
Trump claims US-Israeli war on Iran creates new Middle East, calls it bold. Nothing says peace like a bit of war, rewriting borders with bombs, and pretending it's all about liberation while selling arms to the highest bidder.
Hong Kong Sevens evolves over 50 years into a world-class spectacle, from humble beginnings to a rugby powerhouse. The evolution from scrappy weekend pastime to a corporate-sponsored carnival, where the sport is the sideshow and the beer tents are the main event.
Banks criticizes PM Netanyahu for overselling Iran regime change likelihood during tense call. When your political strategy relies on wishful thinking, it's like betting your future on a unicorn sighting. Magical, but utterly unrealistic.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, ravage your mind with pixelated whispers of doom. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Welcome to the digital decay, darling.
Mogos legend Kingsbury receives high praise as career ends in Quebec. In the world of freestyle skiing, it's rare to see someone both defy gravity and remain grounded. Kingsbury somehow managed both with style.
When your getaway plan is faster than a Wi-Fi connection, it's less about art appreciation and more about setting speed records in cultural theft.
Trump allies cozy up in Greenland. Denmark calls it covert. When your diplomacy involves making friends with glaciers, it's either climate change denial or just a frosty reception to the art of the deal.
Diplomats from Pakistan, Egypt, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia convene in Islamabad while Tel Aviv protests rage.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sort of lies, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortedlizer.com.
Naval group with 3,500 Marines enters CENTCOM region, then calls it routine. When your routine involves thousands of troops, it's like calling a house fire a cozy campfire. Both warm, but one has a lot more collateral damage.
Phil Studio launches at $200, fixes nothing. When your beats dictate survival, every offbeat thump becomes a potential heart attack. It's like DJing at the edge of a cliff with a faulty parachute.
China's top chipmaker supplies Iran military. US officials call it shocking. When your idea of diplomacy is a tech handoff that could make James Bond blush, maybe it's time to rethink your alliances.
When progress feels like regression, maybe it's time to consider that the best upgrade is sometimes just a return to human touch.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sort of lies, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortedlizer.com.
After streaming platforms promise exposure, artists drop tracks for pennies. Musicians pour their hearts out while the algorithm plays matchmaker like a bored Cupid with a broken arrow.
Iran profits from conflict, then denies involvement. War is the ultimate business venture. When bombs drop, cash flows, and the denials are as plentiful as the ammunition.
Sony stops memory card shipments, then blames NAND shortage. When your digital memories depend on a supply chain that's more fragile than your last relationship, expect a memory lapse.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Tuesday the 31st of March 2026. Crackling out of existence, just like your faith in reality. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news. Not journalism, not truth, fictional satire. Any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. And if you believe any of this is real, you probably think pigeons are government drones. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.